Okay, so we are live and so welcome to kind of a special edition of the Way to Wow show, Securing Your Financial Foundation. We have a guest host today, Brian Bielanski. I knew I was going to mess up your name. And I'm going to turn things over to Brian in just a moment. His guest today is a very long-standing friend of mine. I met her when she was 2. That's how it could be long-standing, and she could look so young. Kyra Storojev, and she's going to be talking about all things cryptocurrencies. This is a really, really hot topic in the investing world right now, and it's something that I've been looking into quite a bit. And I will tell you, I had Kyra on my show, the Way to Wow show, People Making Money, and she gave what I thought was the clearest explanation of how cryptocurrencies work. And so I know Leah is particularly pleased to have her on the show today, and we're also very, very pleased that Brian can pinch hit on the hosting. So before we get started, as is Leah's normal practice, just want to remind you about Leah's show from last week, where actually I was her guest, and we talked about the challenges of making a transition when you get hit by one of life's unexpected occurrences, whether it's a death in the family, whether it's a divorce, whether it's an unplanned leaving of a job, getting fired or laid off, those kind of things. How do we bounce back from those events? And I think you will find the discussion that Leah and I had very useful. We talked about really the basis of our shows, the Way to Wow, who are you, what you want, which is really the central questions that we have to answer in our lives, and how we can do that using the 3 pillars of attainment. So I invite you to go to our YouTube channel, the Way to Wow show on YouTube, and check out that episode as well as all of the other episodes. And now, without further ado, I'm going to introduce to you KNX Newsradio personality, Brian
Bielanski.
Bielanski, there you go, Brian Bielanski. And Brian, thanks for, like I said, coming on the show as a host, and take it away.
It's my pleasure. Leah's a longtime mentor of mine, and Leah's one of those people, when she asks you to do something, there's no is not part of the discussion. So no, but it's my pleasure to be here, and it's also important, I think, that we're talking about this discussion, because even those of us who consider ourselves financial educators, a lot of us don't really understand a lot of what crypto is. So this is a great conversation for everybody involved. So it's really great to have Kyra here. She has a long history of working in the tech industry. She spent time on television in Los Angeles as a technology expert, so she's really fluent in this whole interactive teaching people thing, and I'm looking forward to hearing from her on that. She had a company that did networking for school districts and other companies, and then she entered the world of crypto in 2017, and she's been providing information to people ever since. She's from Colorado. She's got a great family, and she's here to help us out. Kyra, welcome.
Thank you so much. It's great to be on the show.
I'm looking forward to it. So let's dive right in. I know people really didn't, join in to hear you and I chat about ourselves. So let's get right to the business here and talk about crypto and really start us off from the beginning, because I think there's a lot of people who just really think this is a foreign subject, and there's a lot of information and misinformation out there, and I know you're going to set us straight. So sure. Where do we start with this?
Sure. Well, I have put together a slideshow that's really quite informative. It's sort of the who, what, where, when, and how of the cryptos that are typical questions that I get asked on what is this? And so I'm just going to get right to it here.
Sounds
on
great.
Understanding cryptos and passive income streams, because in fact, for a lot of people, cryptos has become like a passive income stream. And so I think it's important to go over what is cryptocurrency. First of all, it's a digital asset that's referred to as coins or tokens. and you can exchange currency to buy them. Anyone in the world can send and receive them. So yeah, there are people in India, there are people in, Europe, Asia, all over the world, even in third world countries. If you have access to a phone or some kind of computer, people can sign up and get their own exchange, basically membership, and then they put money in it, or they attach their bank account or credit card to it. And then who runs it? That's another question that's been asked a lot. Each crypto is created by individuals or companies. There are no banks involved. And when you open an account, it's up to you to keep track of your passwords and security codes. That is super important. I know people have actually put their money in the wrong place, or they forgot their security code and they can't get into their money. So that's one of the things I always try to really emphasize is keep track of everything, put it in a lockbox, put it somewhere safe. It's actually, it's of value. So you want to make sure, when you have a will, even put it in your will, these things are important. It's a decentralized system that no one company or person is in charge of the system as a whole. Who accepts cryptos? Well, it's increasing, almost daily. There are more companies that are allowing people to buy with crypto, to sell, to get their services. So that includes travel agencies, airlines like Cheap Air, online stores, hotels, coffee shops like Starbucks. So you could do it online. Phone companies, actually AT&T is allowing you to pay your bills using cryptos. Credit cards like MasterCard actually just said that they're going to accept cryptos. Colorado, the state where I live, was one of the first states to accept cryptos for tax payments.
Wow.
And Florida actually just approved it last week. So they're the second state. And I'm pretty sure we're going to have a domino effect in that.
So how do we know if, let's say, your coffee shop or your airline, how do we find out whether or not the folks that we do our business with accept cryptos?
So sometimes when you go to make payments, like for MasterCard, they'll have an option on there to be able to provide your crypto. If you want to go, like Starbucks, I don't believe it's in person. It's mostly online, like you can pre-order stuff online. They used to actually have kiosks for Bitcoin in Starbucks stores too. And so there are here and there sporadic Bitcoin machines.
Sure.
And so, so it's mostly online that can happen. I'm pretty sure that at some point soon, you're going to be able to walk into a store and be able to just pull up your Coinbase or your Kraken or whatever you use and be able to direct your money. And it's pretty easy. Like on Coinbase, they have this button that says send and receive, and you press the send button and you get a little address, and then you copy that address and then you plug it into wherever you're sending it. And you also have to put in the amount, obviously.
Sure.
Yeah. So El Salvador as a country also last summer declared Bitcoin as a legal payment in their country. Okay. Which is another, I think, big deal.
Sure.
Of course, there's countries that, and I hadn't put it in the slides, that are saying we don't accept cryptos, like Russia and China, some other countries. But what's really happening behind the scenes is that they're creating their own cryptos. So they're going to have their own internal crypto system. Sorry, my dog is barking at the same time.
That's great.
So anyway, cryptocurrency was invented in 2008 by an unknown person or a group of people using the name Satoshi Nakamoto.
Okay.
The currency began use in 2009 when it was released as an open source software where anyone can use it. And I hope you can hear me over my dog.
No, you're good. We can hear you just fine.
Super excited.
We can hear you
just fine. And somebody's at the door. The first trade with Bitcoin was in October 12, 2009. It first started trading from around 0.0009 cents to the dollar. Can you imagine? Because today, I believe it's something like $55,000 per Bitcoin.
So I should have bought 100 Bitcoin back in that time.
Exactly, right? And people did buy it. So at that time, they had to store their Bitcoin on their computer. It was very different initially. It wasn't like on a cloud or,
Right.
you know, in an exchange or anything. That has all evolved over time. So some people who thought, you know, after a couple of years, it's not worth anything, no big deal, it really hadn't moved much, they got rid of their computer, they lost their Bitcoin.
I'm
There's so
already
many stories like that.
crying in my beer just thinking about that.
Huh?
I'm already crying in my beer just thinking about that.
I know, right? You think these poor people, it's just awful. They could be millionaires.
That's awesome.
Right? So, you know, the thing is that a lot of these coins are increasing in value. And that's my next slide, where cryptos are all based on supply and demand. So each token or coin, when it is created, has only a certain number issued, and there's a finite number of them. The higher the demand for the coin, the higher the value. So some increase quickly when they're first published, such as an ape coin, which increased 1,200% in 1 month. And you know what? That was this month.
Okay.
Yeah. So if somebody bought ape coin on March 1st and bought it for $1, right? $1 worth,
Right.
they'd have $1,200 or more. So that's what happens, especially when there's these new coins now that are coming out, is people kind of jump onto the market and they just blow it up and they buy. It's kind of like when a stock goes public. It's the same concept.
Okay.
But the great thing about this is that the average person, any person, can have access to the coin when it first comes out, which is different in a stock exchange. When a stock goes public, there's a select group of people that are allowed to get in when it first goes public. So you kind of miss out on the big leap, right? So that's a big difference, I think, in the availability of creating wealth with the cryptos.
So this is a big question that a lot of people have, is about the security of their money when they do this.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So, you know, there are a lot of different exchanges out there. I really like to, and this is not financial advice, but what I personally like to do is use exchanges that are well known, like crypto.com, you know, or Kraken, Binance, things like that, where they have very secure platforms. But overall, the crypto industry uses the blockchain, which you can see from this diagram is a great example of what it really is. It's just a whole bunch of computers that are scattered all over the world. And instantaneously, when you make a buy or a sell or you send crypto, it is recorded on the blockchain, not just on one computer, but a whole bunch of computers. So that allows for better security and better record. So one of the reasons crypto was created was to have better security with financial transactions, because you can't counterfeit or replicate any of them. All cryptocurrency transactions are recorded on a network of computers called blockchains.
Right.
The blockchain network agrees on each transaction at lightning speed of every buy and sell that has ever taken place and records it permanently. So it's always on record.
So is there a way to know which coin might be more secure or less secure? Is that a concern we should have as far as maybe even with a new coin that's coming out?
No, there's not such an issue of security with the coins. The issue of security is with programs that are created using cryptos that people are selling that can be unscrupulous.
Okay.
And that's where you really have to watch out.
How do we protect ourselves from that?
Yeah, that's a tricky one. So I have done investments in different things. And one I got into was an artificial intelligence bot. So it basically does the buy and sells for you using Forex trading, foreign exchange trading. So the bot is basically a software program and you use it on an exchange. So the exchange and the bot were good. The only thing is that there was an intermediary that holds the money like a bank, and they decided to up their commission structure like in one day and took everybody's money.
Mm.
So you have to be really careful with those kind of programs that it's not really big, it's not really well used yet, you know,
right.
You have to be really careful with those, I have to say.
Got it.
I have learned the hard way.
Sure.
And then there's other programs that are great. But crypto.com it's actually publicly held stock.
Okay.
It's huge. So yeah, so I would say do super homework on whatever you choose to invest in. The cryptos like Coinbase and crypto.com and other ones, they can have some issues with people trying to break in, but they have really good security. And what will really help and really matters is that when you sign up with a system, you need to do their high level security. Whatever they provide and offer for security, you say, yes, I want to use this. Like the 2FAS authenticator, like Google Authenticator, or passwords that are like about you personally that you need to answer questions, transaction codes. I have one that I'm in called Hyperverse as 4 levels of security.
Got it.
Yeah.
All right.
So here we go. These are the different kinds of cryptos. There are now thousands of digital coins out there and more being created every day. The popular ones are Ethereum, Bitcoin, and Litecoin and more. The newer ones it's not financial advice, but I'm saying that the great bet is that the newer ones, they increase in value quickly, like I was saying about ApeCoin.
Sure.
In a short period of time. Another one is Shiba Inu, that when it came out, it went up 29 million% in 6 months.
Right.
Crazy, right?
So you got to find the one that the guy who's making the electric cars is going to talk about next on Twitter and get in on that one.
Right. Exactly. Yes.
Exactly.
I mean, entertainment does come in as a factor of this whole thing, right?
Sure.
Yeah, even with NFTs, and I'm going to get into that too. And that's definitely bringing in the whole entertainment industry.
Yeah, there you go.
So crypto mining, some people ask, what is crypto mining? I've heard this, whatever. Miners are individuals who record transactions in the world of exchange. Of exchanging, buying and selling of cryptocurrencies. Each miner has computers in order to record the transactions. It takes many miners and they get paid in cryptos for doing the work and verifying blocks of transactions. Farming started out in people's homes when Bitcoin came out. And now people have multiple servers and some are installing wind farms and solar farms to keep up with the energy needed to mine. So here's actually a picture of one right here. And this is a whole, system right here with computers and servers. And then this huge farm right here, a solar farm. So, it's good that they're trying to keep up with it in a way that's better for the planet, because that's been one of the issues, is that some of these transactions, like with Bitcoin, are causing more harm than good in terms of on the planet because of the energy usage. But they're definitely addressing that.
Sure.
They're going to build in Dubai, I believe, the largest wind farm for supporting mining coming up here.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. So cryptos are sold in exchanges, much like a brokerage site, like you have Charles Schwab or Ameritrade, where you can buy stocks. You can buy cryptos in similar places. Okay. The top ones are Coinbase, which is a publicly traded company, Binance, Kraken, Crypto.com, Gemini, and there's more. And the great thing is it's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The con side of that is that in the middle of the night, you may wake up and go, oh my gosh, I wonder what's happening with my cryptos. Did it crash? I got to get up and look at the market.
Right.
That's happened to me. I'll admit it. So what is a crypto wallet? It's a place to hold and send your coins or tokens like a bank account. Okay. It's an app that you download on your cell phone. There are fees to transfer digital money, transaction fees. There are many, such as Clever, Tron, Coinbase, Binance, and more. So most of these exchanges also have a crypto wallet that you install on your app.
Got
it. So why do people buy and sell them? Well, for one of the obvious reasons is as an investment for long and short-term gain. So, some people who had the Bitcoin early on, that's definitely a great long-term game. Some people, they like to buy and sell, they're on it all the time. Also to get a higher rate of return than a savings account, savings accounts, they don't really give you a great return on your investment.
Right.
To be in a decentralized worldwide trading platform is another reason. and to buy and sell goods and services and pay taxes and to purchase digital items like NFTs and also in the Metaverse Land, buying the digital land.
Got it. Okay.
So NFTs, I wanted to get into that because that's really hot right now. And anyone can create an NFT. In fact, I created 3 yesterday. It was pretty easy to do.
Okay.
It's basically called non-fungible tokens, NFTs, and is property that can be sold via digital marketplace. Even large corporations are selling their own, such as Nike and Budweiser. And NFT is a unique item with a sole owner. When you buy one, you own the intellectual rights and you can sell it.
Okay.
So there are places you can go, OpenSea.io or MagicEden.io is also another one. I created 3 NFTs based on paintings that I've done on OpenSea yesterday, and it was pretty easy, straightforward. So there's also YouTube videos on learning how to do it.
Sure.
And so Metaverse Land, do you know anything about this one?
I do not, but I'm ready. Give it to me.
It's crazy. Really is. Decentraland.com is an example of a site to buy and sell virtual land and create your own avatar.
Okay.
It's a virtual world, much like a video game, and you can look around and meet avatars and check out real estate, and you can buy real estate. Some actually rent their property and make money from this as an ELAN holder. Similar to cryptos, it can go up and down in value. So this is what it can look like. And these pictures are from Decentraland. And so when you sign up on Decentraland, you actually have to initially create your own avatar. So you can see on the bottom right, there's avatar guy.
Sure.
And then you get to walk your avatar all around and see what it is that's for sale, what you're interested in. I mean, it's basically as if you were walking down the street and going, hey, I really like that house and has a for sale sign. I'm going to buy it, but you got to have some assets in order to buy it. You got to have some coins, So it's a whole nother world, I'll tell you.
Literally.
It really is, yes. And it's increasing.
Interesting.
Yeah. So there are stable programs for passive income investments, like staking crypto coins, which allows you to get a percentage of your coins. So it's like an addition to what you're already getting.
Okay.
Hyperverse, which I talked about earlier, I've been in that since last year, and it pays a steady stream of 0.05% per day on your investment over a window of time. I really love it. It's been a great passive income stream, and it's different because you're not having to worry about the up and down of the market.
Okay.
Also, you can actually buy stocks with crypto investments. So there actually are some mutual funds that are based on cryptos now. So there's a blending that's happening. Even the finance industry and the banks are very wary of cryptos. Behind the scenes, they're actually buying crypto, and they're creating funds and using the blockchain to record data and financial information. So, and then there's Forex trading using artificial intelligence. I talked about that earlier. There are some good ones out there. You just have to be super careful. And then there's the Space Prosperity Program, which is actually a company my husband and I and a team of people created at spades.community. And the coin is called Spades. So we're going to have that on an exchange coming up here in a couple months.
Okay.
And that's pretty exciting. And here's the big question.
That's right. That's what everyone wants to know about.
Do you pay taxes on your earnings? Yes, you do. But here's the but. It's every exchange where you can convert out to your local currency. You have to provide your bank account and ID number. So like Coinbase or Kraken, all those I was talking about, you have to provide that information. So when you convert out and put the money in your bank account, an earnings report is issued at the end of every year, and you'll need to file your earnings and pay taxes on it.
So are you paying taxes just like it's on any investment where whatever your gains are is what you're paying taxes on?
Correct. Currently, that is how it is.
Right,
Although I have heard that you need to be able to report if you've made any money on a coin, even though you haven't brought it into your account, which is very hard to do because yes, you may like sell within the system of like crypto.com, but it's still holding in your account in there, and then you may buy another coin. So usually it's at the end of the year, whatever your revenue is in that system is what you have to pay taxes on.
Interesting.
So cryptocurrency tax rates depend on your income, tax filing status, and the length of time you owned your crypto before selling it. If you owned it for 365 days or less, then you pay short-term gains tax, which are equal to income tax. If you owned it for longer, then you pay long-term gains tax. And that is something obviously a person needs to talk to their accountant about and go over, all that stuff.
And do most accountants get that? Do they understand this process yet, or do you have to go to a specific accountant to find someone who understands how crypto works?
I'm assuming that CPAs in particular are getting more up to speed on all this because so many people are invested in it. And also the US government has come out with some newer, tax codes on it that they should be staying on top of.
Right.
Yeah, but I would go to a CPA for that.
So it's one of those things where I feel like a lot of people just are kind of just afraid of this process because it's foreign to folks. It's unlike what we're used to doing. It doesn't have a traditional pathway for things. How do you ease people's kind of fears, when they want to think about, if I've got a little bit of money to invest or whatever the case may be, what's the thought process?
Well, only invest what you're really willing to risk.
Sure.
Is what I always say, because it is a risk, so, and it's something you need to get educated on and understand what you're getting into, for sure.
So what are the best ways for people to educate themselves on this? I mean, obviously seminars like this are great, but this is just basically scratching the surface. So where is the best way? Is there, is it a bunch of YouTube channels? Are there websites we can go to? What's the best way to go do this?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely more and more people doing videos on this on YouTube. And there's new online newsletters that you can subscribe to that are probably free too.
Okay.
That's also a way. I learned just by doing, and then when you sign up for a lot of these exchanges, they actually have their own news kind of page where they have most up-to-date information on what's going on in the crypto market. So like crypto.com, it's been really helpful. I just read the little snippets that they have underneath where it says what my balance is. And then I can understand sort of what's going on, what's the latest, what I need to keep up with. And that's also another way of doing it.
So you said you learn by doing. How much do we have to kind of just start to dabble? If you're afraid and you don't want to put, cash out your 401k and put it into crypto, can you start with $100? Can you start with $5? What's, if there's not a lot of risk to learn and play, what's the lowest number where you can actually start with and actually really learn something?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, you can start with like $50,
Okay.
and go into crypto.com or any of them, or, you can even sign up for some of these and not link your bank account yet and still kind of play around and look on the website. And it's free to do that. It doesn't cost anything.
Sure.
So that's a good way too. So yeah, you could just play around with like $50 and sort of see what's happening in the market, see how your money moves. I like to look at sort of watch what each of the coins is doing because they do move similarly.
Okay.
And so when the coins go up, most of them go up at the same time. When they go down, most of them go down at the same time. And part of that is because we've got these larger like hedge funds or larger investors that have a lot of the coins, so they can actually move the market. So, but there are patterns that happen with the coins, and there are ups and then there's downs, ups and downs, and it kind of keeps going like that and up. And that has been historically where it's been going, is it continues to increase in value, but you just have to be able to weather those times, those days where you go, oh my gosh, it's down 5%. What am I going to do? I just lost this money. No, it'll probably start coming back up again, but you have to have the patience. It can be difficult and you can't sweat it a lot, you know.
Kevin, you got a question, I understand.
Yeah, I'm just gonna was that unmute myself. So Kyra, where do we find out about new coins that are coming onto the market? And is there a source for kind of getting some sense as to which ones are, worth even the time to check out, let alone, worthwhile to consider investing in?
Yeah, actually, if you do a Google search online for new coin alerts, there are some websites you can sign up and they'll just send you a text message that says, hey, this coin just came on the market. Jump on it if you want to, you know? So I signed up for something like that and oh my gosh, there's so many new coins coming out. And it's a great service. You have to be on top of it, obviously, because as soon as it comes out, you want to just kind of jump on it, honestly. And just test it. You can see, you could put in like $100 or something, or $50, whatever, and then just see what happens. I mean, really, one ape coin but went up 1,200% in a month. That's a worthy investment for sure. So, but you do have to watch out because sometimes they fly up really fast and then they start to go down a bit and correct itself. So that's why it is good to get in early on it. But yeah, you can find alerts online. They're on there. Mm-hmm.
So is this kind of a long-term investment situation, or is this something like penny stocks and day trading where you have to be on top of it every day and really be on top of things?
So personally, I feel that they're long-term plays because historically that is what's happening, is that it is this up and down thing that keeps going up. There'll be times like Bitcoin went all the way up to like 65,000 actually last year. And that's the height of where it's been. And then it dropped down to like, I think 38. And now it's going up and it's up to 55. So you can see, I mean, it definitely has this wavy thing that going on. So a lot of people really like to buy it when there's a dip. They like to go into the coins when there is a drop. And then they see opportunity because most likely it's going to go up again. These coins are going to be around, especially the larger coins that are traded a lot. They're going to be around for a while.
So does a coin come online and then eventually go away? Has that happened a lot or often?
There's some coins that are not pushed out enough or marketed enough. And that's part of this, is you actually have to market these things, you know? And so that means that there's not going to be much movement in them because people aren't aware of them. So because it's based on supply and demand, the value of it won't go up so much unless people are buying and selling, you know? There's got to be movement.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So that's why things like Shiba Inu and ApeCoin, you know, all these like fun names, or Dogecoin, you know, because Elon Musk pushed it out there. What happened? It just flew up, right? It gained in value because we had the backing of some kind of marketing vehicle.
So is this at the moment, it seems to me like Bitcoin and cryptocurrency are more of an investment game right now than a place to put your money for like doing transactions of everyday living, right? Is it really right now still much more of an investment where in time it may become more of a place where you can basically do all of your financial transactions?
Good question. Actually, I know some people that aren't even using their banks anymore.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. They're actually just solely using their cryptos to pay their bills, to you know, take money out, move money, pay their friends, whatever. Yeah, I know one guy, I talked to him the other day. He goes, yeah, I don't need my bank.
Interesting. So are they having
that's you know, I don't know if everybody's going to do that, but that people who are really into it are really like taking advantage of this opportunity.
Yeah, I'm just curious how limited they are and where they can do business because all they're doing their business is in crypto.
Well, more and more companies are accepting these now. So as you they're taking advantage of it because they want to be able to have any kind of vehicle possible for people
Sure.
to make their payments.
Sure.
So if people are making money and like they bought into ApeCoin, let's say, and it went way up, they're like, oh, I got these coins, I'll just convert it into USDT and I'll just pay some bills because I made that money,
Right. So what else do we need to know that we haven't talked about yet?
We've covered a lot, and I guess the future of it all, where it's all going, is what we could talk about just real quick. It's just going to continue to increase. And what I see is like the blockchain technology is going to become more and more valuable over time. I mean, yes, the cryptos, but truly the backbone of the cryptos are the blockchains.
Right.
So blockchain is a way of recording data. We're going to see like medical records, insurance claims, all sorts of things recorded on the blockchain. It's going to be the next level of security and data. So people are investing in that right now. I think it's really smart.
So, and you may not have the answer to this, but I know obviously with the way the world is today, we watch the markets go up and down a lot of times on what's happening with world events. We have a war going on in Europe, and we see that reflected sometimes in our stock market. Has the events of today, of the last 6 months, are they reflected in how the crypto markets go up and down at all, or are they immune to that?
Excellent question. It has, as far as I know, and when I read the news about cryptos, they do see an uptick in the usage of cryptos because people want to have a secure place to have their transactions and money. I hate to say it, but people in Russia, their ruble collapsed basically.
Right.
And a lot of people were into cryptos, even though it was banned. They still had access to their crypto accounts. So they're moving money. They're moving money from their regular bank accounts into the crypto world because there isn't that kind of tight regulation and ability to, confiscate or to create sanctions and stuff like that would affect their country's money.
Right.
So there is, and also Ukraine, the people in Ukraine, oh my gosh, look at the devastation. But they could push their money from their accounts into the crypto so that they can keep it in a place. And in fact, when you push money into the cryptos, you can keep it in a stable coin, which is called Tether, which is tied to the US dollar, or I think there's different currencies in different countries. They have their own stable coins, but it does not move. So they can actually push their money from their bank accounts into these stable coins so it can sit there and it's not going to fluctuate.
So it's actually been more positive for cryptocurrency than it has been for a regular stock market.
Yes, recently has gone up.
And of course, that doesn't always going to be that way, depending on how the world moves. It's just
no.
What's
I mean, the last
right
couple of weeks, I think it's gone up like 10%, 10 to 15%. Yeah.
Sure.
In 2017, it skyrocketed when I got in. It was just crazy. It just became the thing, But now it's definitely more, an up and down kind of deal.
Got it.
Yeah. World events definitely playing into the crypto market now more and more, I think, because we've got just millions of people who are investing in it now.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin, you had another question.
Yeah. So Kyra, some of the things that I've read about cryptos, especially from, a government standpoint, is that they're being used for, money laundering or illegal transactions. What do you think is going to be the effect of dealing with that issue, whether it's, future regulations or just the whole sort of way that, potentially that taints the market for cryptos, et cetera?
Sure. Yeah. Definitely initially, there was a lot of that going on. There's been more of a clampdown in terms of security and who has the accounts. So when you go into an exchange, you have to provide your ID and it has to be verified. And now they're taking a little bit longer actually verifying your ID and verifying that, yes, in fact, this is your bank and your bank is allowing you to do the transactions. So I think that is one way that they're clamping down on this and doing some background checks basically behind the scenes when you're trying to open an account. So that will help. I can't say it's going to make it perfect, and for sure there's definitely people moving money, unscrupulously perhaps. But also people are doing business with it in very legit ways.
So what's driving that? Because I know initially crypto was advertised as kind of like the dark way to save your money from being seen and followed and all that kind of stuff. If now you have to be verified and everything, isn't that kind of antithesis of what crypto was designed to be?
Yeah, that is, and it's the evolution of it, but it is still decentralized.
Okay.
And that is the key. That is what everybody really wants, is the DeFi. They want to have it decentralized where we're not relying on the banks.
So can you give us an example of why that's advantageous, or why someone would be interested in decentralized, for those who might not be really up on that?
There's different things. One of the things that I talked about in terms of the pluses of getting cryptos is that you have a higher rate of return than you would having your money sitting in a bank account.
Sure.
So that is one advantage. There's different other reasons that you have more control over your money. You have more control over moving it to different places and buying and selling. So it's kind of this combination of the stock market and having your own control over your own money and your own destiny, basically. So I think it's just a level of autonomy that people like with it.
There's a lot of skeptics out there, who still think crypto is a passing fancy. Is there? It's been around for a long time, but it's basically been around for a split second when you look at it. What is kind of the prognosis for where it is? Is the world of too deep into crypto for it to go away now at this point?
Yeah, I think so. Definitely. I mean, more and more businesses are accepting it. Countries are accepting it. Even, like I said, the countries that are banning it, they're still creating their own currency, digital currency. And the Federal Reserve is actually going to open their own division. They've been talking about it for cryptocurrency. So there's probably going to be a US dollar crypto coming out as well. I think a lot of them see the writing on the wall, and it'll just continue to evolve. Most of these cryptos actually have functions behind them. They're not just coins. So when you look up the definition of the coin, like when you go into your Coinbase and you say, oh, I want to see what is a coin, So you can look at, they're actually helping to support the blockchain. They become an aspect of the blockchain for gaming and video gaming. They're a coin that is on the blockchain. So really, it's quite interesting that these thousands of coins are being made are the backbone of the crypto world. So it's really being propped up by lots and lots of people. It's kind of like, freeware, when freeware came out on the internet, it was exciting. It's very creative. Everybody gets involved and they work as a team together, and they just creating something better for the world, they feel like, So I feel like this is a similar thing that's going on with the crypto market.
So if people are putting their money into crypto, not into banks, how long does it take for banks to start figuring out how to get into crypto?
That's a good question. I mean, when I talk to people in the finance industry, they're like, don't talk to me about cryptos. I could lose my license, something. So, I mean, but it's changing, because there's an interplay. There's definitely an overlap that's happening. And I think they're just going to have to start figuring out how to accept them more, how to work with them, because you can't just keep your eyes closed. That's not going to work,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin, do you have any other questions before we start to wrap things up?
So, I wanted to kind of go back to what I had asked before. So people have to get verified in order to get on an exchange, and they're verified through their bank account. So how does being verified through your bank account, how does that impact the disintermediation function that, that crypto is at least somewhat designed to facilitate, right? Because another thing I've read about crypto is there's a certain percentage of people in the United States who are unbanked. Generally, they're lower income people, right?
A few million, actually.
Yeah, exactly. So for people in that situation, this is an opportunity for them to be able to do financial transactions without having to worry about whether they have an account at, I don't want to, slam any particular bank, but whatever bank it is, right? So how do you see that developing this sort of somewhat cross purpose between needing to be verified and yet not being bankable for people in that group?
Yeah, that is a super question, because yes, the crypto is actually fulfilling that need that people are having that are unbanked, even people in third world countries, that can't open a bank account, don't have access, but yet they've got a phone, and they can open a crypto account and start making payments or receive money from around the world. And some banks are still really reticent to connect in with the crypto world. I was just talking to a friend who's in Canada actually this morning, and I was helping him kind of connect in with Coinbase and sign up and all that. And he said, my bank won't accept this. Like, they don't want to connect in with the crypto market using his credit card, and for sure not even his bank account. So he has to find another way to go around it. So I think it's just time, we'll see how it all kind of flushes out, because the demand is there and the desire is there for people to have access to be able to create wealth and money.
So if I don't have a bank, how do I get money into my first crypto account?
Well, they can have like a prepaid card, credit card.
Got it. Okay.
And just load up the card.
Right.
And then they can connect that.
Interesting.
Have you heard anything about how payment services like Venmo and Zelle and Square, some of these, how are they responding to the advent of crypto? Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, I mean, some of them are accepting crypto too. So you can see like on PayPal, I believe you can do cryptocurrency as well. So they're starting to add their little buttons saying, do you want to use crypto? They know there's money out there. There's billions of dollars floating around in the crypto market. Of course, they're going to want to have some funnel, to be able to allow people to move the money. And it's already happening.
And in that case, you just connect your crypto wallet basically to a service like PayPal, and that way you can be virtually seamless. Wow.
Right.
I mean,
yeah.
That's
Zelle,
cool.
I'm not sure with Zelle yet, because it's usually a bank to bank, I believe, right? For that. So
right,
I'm
Zelle
not
right
quite
now
sure.
Is bank to bank.
Huh?
Yeah, Zelle is bank to bank, but even Venmo is connected. You have to have a bank account to download it to. Once you with Venmo, you transfer between people, but once you get it into your Venmo account, unless you're just going to pay someone else with Venmo, if you want to get that money out, you have to have a bank to do that.
Yeah,
right.
That's true.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely an evolution, this whole thing. And, for a while, it felt like the Wild West with it all. The 2017, I was like, I don't know which way this thing's going to go. No idea. And then more and more companies. And like I said, the coins, they're a huge part of this whole industry getting stronger and having a better foundation, is because they're playing these little parts in the whole system. That is not going away, especially when they increase in value. So then now these companies that are backing the crypto blockchain or whatever aspect, they have more wealth, right?
Right.
So then they have more ability to make things happen, hire programmers, to prop it up. So I can't see that changing.
Right. So it strikes me, if you want to use this as kind of you're banking for your everyday business, your everyday life. It's probably smarter to put your money into some of those bigger coins that everyone knows about. And then if you want to try to make a lot of money and do it that way, you're looking for those new coins that are going to grow fast or grow over time, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That's a great formula. That's a really good, simple formula to work with. Yes.
I think a lot of people are just afraid of it. They're just flat afraid of it. That's what's kept me from trying it out. My lack of knowledge and my concern over, I don't have a ton of money to invest. And if I don't really understand it, then I'm going to go to something that may or may not be as good, but it's something that's, I can understand.
Sure.
And, people understand how the stock market works. People understand what a mutual fund does. But crypto has this just kind of mystique and about it that it's very, underground and all this kind of stuff. And I think that's slowly going away. But it is, I would also think that fear is generational. I'm going to guess that, I had a host on a podcast called The Millennial and Me, and I was always the stodgy guy who didn't know anything, and she would do all this fun stuff. And it strikes me that millennials are probably much, much less fearful of this kind of thing than, old fuddy-duddies like me.
Yeah, I guess so. It's funny. Millennials are really into the NFTs and the Metaverse Land.
Okay.
The older people are actually into the cryptos more.
Okay.
Which is interesting,
Yeah, very much so.
I think because it's more like a video game when you go into the Metaverse Land, you do your avatar. I mean, for me, it made me dizzy.
Yeah.
Just walked in, I was like, oh my gosh, I got to create an avatar. I got to walk around. It was too much.
Yeah.
But younger generation, I swear the younger generation is going to be the wealthy one. And I think that's why we are missing laborers in different stores that pay minimum wage or whatever. There's always these signs that say, openings, please come. No, it's because they're online and they're making good money.
So real quick, because we're quickly running out of time.
Yeah.
I asked Kevin, we said, are we going to get to an hour? He goes, yeah, we'll get to an hour. We're getting to an hour. Let's talk about just real quick NFTs, the non-fungible tokens, which I still think is something you should be able to get an antibiotic for. But what's this new NFT game? I mean, it's really kind of in the last 6 months to a year exploded.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people who, are young artists, people who aren't even artists, who are creating stuff that they're calling art, and then I also hear of some really established artists who are using this. Can you give us kind of a quick nuts and bolts on how NFTs work?
Yeah, I mean, NFTs is a wonderful vehicle for artists. I mean, I'm super excited about it. I love to do artwork. You can see my painting behind there. It's just a great opportunity, especially for those people that already have a name established. That helps a lot. The value of their NFTs goes way up because it's like when you go to an art auction and you want to buy the art that has the most value because of the most well-known artist, So it's a similar thing, but on a lower scale. You don't have to pay thousands of dollars for an art piece. You could pay like $10, or you can pay, some of them go up to a couple $1,000s for these NFTs. So the only thing that I can see with NFTs is that because there's a flood of them now, is that this is supply and demand issue again, is that when there's a greater supply, the demand will change, the price will change, right? So it is somewhat risky, but when you get like Budweiser selling NFTs on their website, which they did, somebody told me about it, and I was like, whoa, I'm going to see what that's about. They were sold out in like 5 minutes.
Sure.
And they're going to retain value. So
well, it's probably like anything, if there's a lot of demand and then it goes away, some people will drop out, and then the people who are going to stick with it are the ones who are going to reap those benefits.
Yeah, I mean, there's some people who really play it. They play the NFT market really well. I actually have a friend who's doing that, and he has a mentor who's in her 20s.
Okay.
And she knows all about buying and selling NFTs, and she's making hundreds of thousands of dollars in her 20s. off of NFTs.
Nice.
She knows how to play it.
Sure.
You just got to focus in on it and just say, this is the thing I'm going to get to know. This is what I'm going to understand the most, and, be willing to risk some money. But those players are doing extremely well.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So my last question, and if Kevin wants to jump in when I'm done, is this something I need to spend 5 hours a day working on, or can I be just I check in once in a while, I do a little bit here, I do a little bit there? I'm guessing both ends of those spectrum work in different ways, right?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you can just put some money in, and be like, I'm just going to let it ride and see where it goes. Not worry about it. I know some people who bought Bitcoin when it was 10,000, and now it's way up there.
Right.
But they bought it a couple of years ago. They said, I don't want to care about it. I don't want to worry about it. And it's had its up and downs and everything. It's great valuation right now for them. So yeah, I mean, that's an easy way where you don't have the headache and stress of worrying about it. But some people are really into it, and they want to just watch it every day. Like me, I get super addicted to this thing. And I'm watching it and I'm like, oh my gosh, I better move it into USDT and wait, yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. It's all based on your interest level,
Sure.
And how risky of a player you are.
There you go.
So I like it. To me, it's kind of fun.
Nice.
Yeah. But you gotta, when 2017, I got into it, I put money in and I made $20,000 in 1 month.
Yeah, that's good money.
It was great money. It was a shock, it's just zoomed right up. But sometimes you got to know when to sell. So that's the other piece, Right. But I have a system where I put into the Hyperverse, I make daily money, and then I withdraw money and I put that into my cryptocurrency and then I invest. Cool. So that some people create different income streams and they connect them all.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think I've got some reading to do, Kevin.
Yeah, right.
You got to do a little Googling and a little YouTubing.
Yeah. So when the show posts on YouTube, I will go back and Kyra, I'll put your contact information there because I know you're always open to people getting in touch with you to learn more about crypto as well as Hyperverse. I know we work together on Hyperverse. It's been a great partnership there, and it is interesting if you think about the very early days of this country prior to the War for Independence. We didn't have a national currency. Each state issued their own currency. Individual banks issued their own currency, and it was such a hassle because there was no ability to easily transact with different currencies, and crypto in essence has recreated that world with the added benefit that if you have Bitcoin and you have Ethereum, it doesn't really matter. There's an easy way to transact even if you own different cryptocurrencies. So we're going in essence back to the past. The future is really the past reinvented in a more efficient way. It's really quite fascinating, and I think it's really a great opportunity, especially for people like us who wouldn't have been a part of the financial world in this way before. We were not in that group, right? We, like you said, we didn't have access to the initial public offerings and that sort of thing. So really,
I mean, it is empowering.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I made my first investment. My next door neighbor came over and he said, I want you to invest some money in this. And I said, I don't even know what it is. He said, well, it's Dogecoin. I'm like, what is that? Right. He's like, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you $1,000 to put in Dogecoin. And in 2 weeks, I'm going to take my $1,000 out and you can keep whatever profit we make. And if I lose money, don't worry about it. I'll just take whatever's left.
Can I be his friend?
What's that?
Can I be his friend? I'll give you you've got my phone number. It's time to make a connection here.
Come on over to my house. I'll sit you down. You'll have a bourbon. I'll invite my friend over, right?
Nice.
And that's exactly what we did. And now I still have, however much Dogecoin I have, that was the profit from that initial transaction. So, sometimes you have to have a friend who kind of gives you a bit of a kick in the, the backside, as we say, to get you off the dime. But it's been a terrific investment, and then to move on to other things like Hyperverse and such. So.
Mm-hmm.
So I get the privilege of first of all thanking you, Kyra, my longstanding great friend, for coming and sharing your knowledge with us. And Brian, thank you so much for guest hosting. Terrific job. I think we need to talk about having you do a show on your own here.
Yeah, you're great.
Oh, well, thank you.
Very simpatico, right?
I love it. I love it.
So that's it for this week. Just a quick pump for next week. Leah Siegel will be back as hosting, and her guest is going to be Owen. I believe his last name is pronounced Beanie. Owen has a business called Points Power. And it's I think it's kind of an affinity and incentives program. It's something that Leah has been involved with for quite some time. She's very excited to have Owen on her show. And so please tune in with us every Thursday, 1 p.m. Pacific time, 4 p.m. Eastern time, and an hour each way coming as you go into the center of the country, Mountain time and Central time. And again, thank you so much to Brian, to Kyra. Really appreciate you. Such a tremendously great job. And we'll see you all next week. Thanks so much.